Hi, guys. Thanks for joining me. On this segment, I'm talking about the World Cup issues that are coming up in America. I'm sure I've heard some of the issues going on. So, FIFA are panicking. In America, it looks like quite a few people that they would naturally expect to go to watch the World Cup in the US are not committing their dollars to go to the country due to a lot of things that are potentially going to happen. We have all seen in America the same thing I was talking about months ago about the risk of having a World Cup in the USA are actually happening. And someone raised a good point the other day. What is happening now with all the anxiety from FIFA, the cancelled bookings of hotels, stadiums not selling out possibly to smaller teams, are the things they thought would happen in South Africa, that people traveled down. Now, the difference with South Africa is as much as the country has its issues, they at least at that point did not have any immigration issues, gun violence, and all these like anti sort of leadership feelings. You all know a lot of people are hating the leadership of Donald Trump, especially from outside, and even in his own country is getting attacked a lot because he has gone back on a lot of his promises. The idea that they're going to want him to have a successful World Cup is going to be ridiculous. Personally, actually, I think the World Cup will not be as bad in terms of attendance as I thought initially. The only thing is some of the cost of some of the tickets is going to be ridiculous. Definitely, it will be a lot quieter because the people who are going to be affording $1,000 for a ticket to go and watch Costa Rica, or for example, I don't know, a smaller country, some funny country from Asia, are going to be people with serious money, corporate types. Corporate types. And like football, you need some thugs in there, some loud mouths. You need people who literally spent the night before running up and down the streets to give you that air of excitement. We do not want anything else. The other thing I was thinking about in terms of this World Cup, we heard that there's going to be some halftime entertainment. I think it's just at the final. Imagine a final of the World Cup. Remember when we watched France versus Argentina in the last World Cup? That 20 minutes, in fact, it was even longer than 15. I think it was like a 20 minutes, 25-minute break, because the weather was so hot, blah, blah, blah. It was enclosed. Anyway, we are going to have a halftime show. They're reporting it could even be a 30-minute one because you have to remember they'll have to clear the field, then they'll have to build a stage, and then we're going to have people prancing about, dancing, blah 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 for half an hour like they do in the NFL. And then the players, imagine as a player, you're going to the dressing room to have a drink, to recharge, to re-strategize. 30 minutes later, you're waiting for them to come and break down the stage. Hey, it'll be interesting. Anyway, I am going to be here to see just how this is going to work out. I wish it wasn't where we are, but the leadership of FIFA, for the few years they've been in there, we've known we took a wrong step, 100%. He is obsessed with power. He's been obsessed from the beginning with getting into Donald Trump's good book with that fake FIFA Peace Prize. I wonder how that's going. He's obsessed with rubbing shoulders with anybody who will give him a little ounce of power, which is unfortunate. But I hope after this debacle of the World Cup comes to pass, we are going to now get rid of these guys. We need a new sort of trajectory with FIFA. They are even just adding all. I know I want I want a fair representation of African nations at the Africa Cup, 100%. And I think we've done really well this year. Our teams at the Africa Cup, at the World Cup, are really, really strong. I think we got Senegal, the African champions, Morocco, our anyway, Morocco. Egypt is going. Is Cameroon going? No, they're not going. Yeah, you go for a shower. Sorry, my son is. What are you doing? Yeah. All right, mommy's recording. Shh. Right, yeah. So we've got some good African nations going, and Congo is going. So it's great. We've got 10 nations representing Africa. But it is going to be such a long process. I'm so happy as well that this format and the way they've done it, we've seen teams like Italy drop out who basically just used to turn up and qualify without really competing. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see Croatia play. I can't wait to see France play, and we'll go from there. The other thing that is concerning about nations, authoritarian. In fact, the US has become an authoritarian nation because we've got, for the first time, I think, in ever, a country that's like Iran, who basically cannot even lodge in the United States. FIFA should have literally moved all their games and played in either Canada or in Mexico. So they're going to be staying in Mexico near sort of like the US, and they'll be flying in on the day just to play and leave. They'll have no fans unless like Iranian fans who live in the US, but we also know Iranian fans living in the US have probably like broken all allegiance to their country anyway. But football-wise, this is a unifying. Football is very unifying. So it doesn't matter if you are in support of the Ayatollah or their cousins or you don't support them. I think when it comes to football, you just want to see the boys do their thing. They're not allowed to bring the old Iranian flag as well and display that. So basically, there's going to be a lot of censorship. This is going to be a very interesting, politically charged World Cup for sure. But I hope, this is my hope, literally, like this FIFA contingent, this FIFA leadership has to go after this. I think I've seen enough. I want a unifying FIFA, and these guys, I think, have played too much with our minds. Everything else, I really don't have. I don't want to nitpick because nothing will be perfect, but these guys have messed it up. They're complaining about some hotel bookings. They booked, like a batch booked a lot of hotels, which is normal for any tournament for FIFA, but because of the lack of demand for some accommodation, there's basically very little uptake. First of all, the prices for the rooms themselves, and also basically no one wants to risk going to the United States now. Imagine putting down, if you're not from Africa, putting down $15,000 or $10,000 for a visa. You go to you go to the airport, you fly there, you get detained. And that is going to happen to a lot of people. And then you have ICE basically walking around the station as well, looking for victims, looking for people who don't look right. It is going to be a mess in terms of that. And I hope they'll be able to report it. But otherwise, like there's places like New York where they've got this new mayor. I think places like that should be okay because it's going to do everything to curtail some of these overzealous policing. Yeah, I'd like to find out, if you're in the US, are you planning on going to see any of the games? Can you afford it? Because me, somebody who doesn't live in the US, some of the prices I'm seeing, like $740 without VAT, without VAT, to buy a ticket without the booking fee. So you're looking at $900 minimum to go to some games. And then when you go later on into like the finals, the quarterfinals, semifinals, the tickets are even more extortionate. That is the only negative, but I will be watching it on the telly. I haven't been to any of the other World Cups. The US would have been a very accessible one for me, I think, considering I wasn't about to go to Saudi Arabia to watch that one. I would have loved to go, but the US would have been a good one to go and try and do it. But yeah, I'm not going to the US for about another 7 years, I think, or 5 years, 7 years until they roll back. Because I'm one of those people, I feel like I'm very unlucky. The day I'll say, oh yeah, it doesn't matter, I'll probably end up detained for something crazy like a tweet I forgot to delete a million years ago. Window. So yeah, so basically, guys, that's just the way it is at the World Cup. I will come back with some more World Cup updates as soon as we finish with all the league stuff and the Champions League stuff at the end of the week. Then we can focus 100% over the next 3 weeks on the World Cup, the squads that are coming out, the way we think they should line up, how we are going to do across all the group stages, and who we should expect to go into the next rounds, elimination rounds, etc., etc. Right, guys, talk to you soon. Let me see what my boo-boo wants here. Bye-bye.